the hidden meaning behind the INFJ smile. Today, we're going to explore something that most people never even question, something that almost no one stops long enough to understand, and something that, if you are an INFJ yourself, you have probably been doing for so long that you don't even notice you're doing it anymore, because it feels like breathing. Your smile, that subtle, calm, mysterious, and deeply layered expression that seems to hide as much as it reveals, because behind it lives 1,000 private meanings, hidden truths, silent emotional calculations, and unspoken observations that only someone with an INFJ mind could ever fully understand. Because the INFJ smile is not just a smile, it's a psychological shield, a quiet language, a map of what the INFJ feels but doesn't say, a window that opens inward rather than outward, a tell that reveals nothing unless someone knows exactly how to read it. And in this video, we're going to explore 8 hidden layers behind the INFJ smile, the layers that reveal what's happening beneath the surface, the layers that show the difference between the smile you use when you're healing others and the smile you use when you're hiding yourself, the smile that comes from empathy and the smile that comes from wounds, the smile that is for the world and the smile that is for your inner circle. The I'm observing you smile. This is the smile most people think is friendliness. But for INFJs, it's something far deeper. This smile appears when you're reading someone, when your intuition is scanning the emotional atmosphere of a room, when you're picking up micro-expressions, shifts in tone, inconsistencies in what someone says versus what they feel, and you're quietly piecing everything together into a single intuitive picture. The smile isn't forced. It isn't fake. It's simply neutral kindness with a purpose. It's your way of saying, I'm here, I see you, you can relax, I'm not a threat. And while other types may use a poker face or direct interrogation to assess people, INFJs often use this gentle smile as a softened lens, a way of letting others reveal themselves naturally without feeling watched or judged. But inside, you're mapping the room, you're noticing patterns, you're collecting subtle truths, because the INFJ mind absorbs emotional detail the way paper absorbs ink, quietly, thoroughly, and irrevocably. And this smile is your way of staying present, without exposing how intensely you're actually paying attention. To the I know more than I'm saying smile. Almost every INFJ has worn this smile, particularly in moments when your intuition has connected dots that others don't even see as related. When you know the real reason someone is acting the way they're acting, or when you predict a situation's outcome long before it unfolds. This smile is small, quiet, almost imperceptible. It's the smile that appears when someone is explaining something to you at face value, while you already understand the subtext, the motive, the suppressed emotion, and the unspoken truth. It's not arrogance. It's not superiority. It's simply the INFJ experience of living on 2 psychological layers at the same time, the visible world and the intuitive world. People often misinterpret this smile as amusement or agreement, but in reality, it's you holding back the urge to explain what you see, because you already know the other person isn't ready to hear it. This is the INFJ's intuitive restraint, expressed through a subtle smile that says, I understand. And I understand what's underneath it. The I don't want you to worry about me smile. INFJs rarely burden others, not because they don't feel deeply, but because they feel too deeply. So deeply that showing the full intensity of their emotion could overwhelm people who aren't prepared for it. So when you're hurting, when you're overwhelmed, when you're confused, or when you're carrying a private emotional storm, you often pull out this particular smile, the soft, gentle upward curve that hides the depth of what's actually happening inside. It's the smile you use when someone asks if you're okay, when you're tired but won't complain, when you're disappointed but don't want to create tension, when you're hurting but don't want anyone to feel responsible for your pain. This is the INFJ's protective smile, not for yourself, but for others, because INFJs don't hide their feelings out of fear. They hide them out of love. For the I forgave you quietly smile. This is the smile INFJs use when someone hurts them, either unintentionally or through their own lack of emotional awareness. And the INFJ decides to forgive silently, internally, without making a scene, without demanding an apology, and without holding a grudge. This is not a passive-aggressive smile. It's a compassion-based smile, one that says, "I understand you were acting from your own pain. I see the wound behind your behavior, and even though it hurt me, I'm choosing empathy." INFJs don't always verbalize forgiveness because the emotional process happens inwardly, through reflection and understanding, long before the other person realizes something was wrong. The smile is soft, melancholy, peaceful, and slightly distant because compassion doesn't erase the need for boundaries. Forgiveness doesn't erase emotional memory. The INFJ smile here is not about forgetting the wound. It's about releasing the resentment. 5. The rare "I feel safe with you" smile. This is the INFJ smile people almost never get to see. It's warmer, brighter, more open. It's the smile that only appears when your guard is down, when you feel seen instead of analyzed, when you feel understood without needing to justify yourself, when someone's presence feels gentle enough that your intuitive defenses relax. This smile is genuine, unfiltered INFJ joy. Not excitement, not politeness, not emotional management, just pure real presence. And because INFJs open up so selectively, because you reveal your inner world only when someone has shown consistency, sincerity, and emotional stability, this smile becomes incredibly meaningful. It's the INFJ equivalent of saying, "You matter to me. You're safe for me. I can exist fully in your presence." Only a handful of people ever earn this smile in a lifetime. 6. The "I know you're lying, but I won't call you out" smile. INFJs detect dishonesty with uncomfortable accuracy, not because you're looking for lies, but because you feel emotional dissonance in people, the way musicians hear wrong notes in a melody. This smile appears when someone's words and energy don't match, when something feels off, when the story doesn't align with the emotion, when the tone doesn't align with the intent, when the INFJ intuition quietly flags, something here is not true. But instead of confronting it head-on, which would create unnecessary conflict or embarrassment, you offer a soft, neutral smile. Not accusing, not gullible, just aware. You're giving the person space to correct themselves, to open up, or to be honest when they're ready. This smile says, "I know, but I'm not here to judge you. I'm here when you're ready to be real." 7. The "I'm disappearing quietly" smile. This is one of the most misunderstood INFJ smiles. It appears in the weeks, or sometimes months, before the INFJ begins emotionally withdrawing from a relationship, situation, or environment that no longer feels healthy. The INFJ doesn't yell, doesn't accuse, doesn't announce their departure. Instead, they begin fading. This smile is soft, polite, and distant. It appears during conversations that feel repetitive, during relationships that are emotionally one-sided, during interactions where the INFJ feels unseen or drained, during situations where their intuitive alarm says, "This is no longer aligned with who you are." This smile is not sadness, it's acceptance, a quiet goodbye long before the physical departure. It's the INFJ's instinctive way of leaving without harm, without drama, without conflict, a psychological exit rather than a physical one. 8. The INFJ soul smile. This is the purest, deepest, most meaningful INFJ smile, the one that expresses not emotion but alignment. You show this smile when something resonates with your inner truth, when you feel connected to your purpose, when you experience moments that reflect your values, when you're engaged in meaningful conversations, creative expression, or acts of compassion. This smile appears when you feel understood, inspired, emotionally connected, intuitively awakened, spiritually aligned, purposefully engaged. This smile is rare, sacred, and unmistakably genuine. It's the INFJ smile that carries depth, presence, warmth, and the unmistakable feeling that something real is happening in that moment. It's not a reaction, it's a revelation. This is why the INFJ smile is misunderstood. Many people misread INFJ smiles because they assume it's friendliness when it's quiet observation. They assume it's shyness when it's emotional discretion. They assume it's agreement when it's intuitive foresight. They assume it's happiness when it's internal conflict. They assume it's distance when it's self-protection. They assume it's politeness when it's intentional compassion. The INFJ smile is a personality mirror. It reflects the INFJ's inner world, not the outer situation. Because INFJs don't smile based on social expectation. They smile based on emotional truth. The INFJ smile is shaped by 4 psychological forces. 1. Introverted intuition, NI. This is the inner engine that constantly analyzes, predicts, connects, and observes. Your smile often hides this ongoing process. 2. Extroverted failing, FE. This is the part of you that senses emotional needs and responds with warmth. Your smile often acts as emotional cushioning for others. 3. Introverted thinking, T. This internal mechanism creates quiet analysis and logical calibration. Your smile often appears while you refine your thoughts silently. 4. Extroverted sensing, C. This rarely used function makes INFJs highly aware of social atmospheres and sensory tension. Your smile often smooths the environment to make it more comfortable. The INFJ smile is where all 4 of these functions intersect. It's an emotional signal, an intuitive filter, a logical mask, and a sensory smoothing technique all at once. If you are an INFJ, you already know that your smile is not small at all, not in meaning, not in depth, not in intention. It is your quiet language, your emotional instrument, your intuitive shield, your spiritual expression. It is the expression people see, but rarely understand.